I found also that lots of exited founders actually have very healthy lifestyles. Sometimes you would say even extremely healthy. They go into biohacking and they want to optimize themselves. This whole obsession with longevity, in our communities, it's very common.
It is.
But I think in this case, there's a different problem there, that people become so self-centered, so self-obsessed that they're doing everything for themselves. But when we're very selfish, we are never fulfilled. Because when we're building a business, whether we realize it or not, we're creating something for others. And it's our customers, but it's also our employees, right? We have this sense of purpose and sense of duty and sense of meaning, of giving something to the world.
And sense of community, yeah.
And sense of community too. A community where you have meaning, right?
Yeah.
And you mean something. Don't
I would
just
define
exist.
some of those people as being very unhealthy, honestly. And I mean like spiritually unhealthy. I mean, we can talk about Brian Johnson, but and he's almost starting what I'd call a modern religion, with what he's doing with Blueprint. So there's some element of community in what he's doing, but you can see, I don't know if you watched the documentary that just came out on Netflix about him. It's definitely worth watching. There is a sense of loneliness in his life, for sure, and lack of, he's completely obsessed with this. And to be honest, he's making a lot of sacrifices, I guess, for the wider world, right, by testing all this stuff. But there's definitely a sense of loneliness there, and and like from some of these founders, who like are very, do all the right longevity things. They have 80 supplements they take per day. They have every, they have a hyperbaric chamber and red light therapy machines in the house or whatever. Yeah. It's all great, but for me, those people are unlikely to be fulfilled. I think one of the big lessons that, peer-reviewed research shows this, even Brian Johnson says this, right? And he's come to recognize it. And it's one of the, I think, stark things that he kind of comes to conclusion in his documentary about is the people who live longest are the ones who have the most connections with other people, right? And community is so important to driving, to basically having a reason to live and feeling fulfilled, right?
Yeah, but the reason to live usually comes with you giving to that community, right? If you sit in the middle of that community and just
you have to have responsibility and accountability.
You will not be fulfilled either.
Absolutely, So I describe some of those people as being unhealthy from that perspective.
Alex, you mentioned religion. Can we go into the idea of starting a new religion?
We can talk about it briefly. Yeah.
Okay.
Look. This is definitely, this is not a short-term thing. But I think one of the sad things, if you look at the breakdown of religion in most of the Western world, right, is in, there are more, there's growing atheism in pretty much every Western democracy, certainly. And I think that has had a lot of negative impacts on society as a whole, right? And, if you think about people used to go to church every week, right? Whatever church that was, right? Whether it was synagogue, whether it's Catholic church, Anglican church, all the different types of churches. And at that church, they would connect with all sorts of other people from their community, all stratas of income, importantly, right? It's where very wealthy people would meet the very poorest people in their local community. They'd feel a sense of obligation to people who live near them. And I think that kind of breakdown in I guess, religious participation has led to a lot of other negative issues in crime rates, various other things in society today. I think there's definitely a link there. And so as that's broken down, you've seen lots of people search for that similar sense of community elsewhere, right? And a lot of those are now online, right? You have all these online communities where some of those are very healthy, some of those are not very healthy at all, right? Very negative, but people want to belong and they want to feel a sense of community. And if it's not, a church, it will be something else. Right. And look, maybe it's, it's a biohacking community, right? Maybe it's something, where they feel like a real sense of community there, but people will find it somewhere. And I think that trend of I guess the traditional religions gradually, losing participation, I think that may reverse at some point soon. I think people are starting to see the value. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges in the world that come from those religions, including war, etc. But I think there's a lot of value from those religions. And Johnson again, because I think what he's doing with Blueprint is in some ways a modern religion, right? And he's growing a community of people who all have a shared goal, don't die or whatever it is. And yeah, look, that's not a church religion, but it is a religion which believes in the power of humans. It's humanistic, right? That was one of the big reasons for the break.
Human becomes the god.
Yeah, and look, we're creating gods at the moment. That's another thing to talk about. But if you look at why did the religions break down originally? It's because science developed, and we gradually, it was a move from the theocratic to the a human-centric, humanistic view of the world, which is actually we have power to do all this stuff, right? That's one of the main reasons. Yeah. But I think there's opportunity to create modern day religions around believing in humans and humans' power to, solve the biggest problems in the world. And Brian Johnson's doing one of those right now, I think, with what he's doing with Blueprint. In my view, that's a modern day religion. And so, yeah, look, if one day I were to ever have time beyond sequel, and I'm talking about in 15 or 20 years time, probably, to do something else, it'd definitely be my goal to, I don't want to say start a religion because people are going to call me a cult leader, but start something which has the elements of a religion, the positive elements in terms of building community among people with shared values, which are positive for society, bring people together from all different parts of society, all different backgrounds, all different wealth levels, and create positive outcomes and externalities for people. That is something that I would love to do one day.